Well, hello, and welcome back to the most amazing show you've ever seen, Dookie Forge. In this episode, we are hoping... I keep saying we. Why do I keep saying we? It's only me. And those two people that are watching, you too. In this episode, the goal, I suppose, is to make one of the kind of classic blacksmithing tools that every blacksmith needs. At least from my research, I think every blacksmith needs. And that is a holdfast tool. It's essentially like a spring clamp hook thing. I'll show some pictures that goes on an anvil, and essentially it holds things, and it's fast to use. So it's called a holdfast, I'm assuming. That's why. So I need that tool in order to hold certain things in future projects, including the second 50 bottle openers that is coming up really soon. And to hold like the jigs and stuff. And then also if I'm working on anything a little bit larger and I need something to hold while I need both hands to like hold a chisel or something like that, or hold something else, then I can use a holdfast to hold it and then use two hands on other stuff. So that is the goal. There's always that chance of failure, which I've been failing a lot on pretty much everything I've been doing. So enjoy all that. But also I am almost out of propane. Unfortunately, I don't have like a gauge to see how much actual propane is left in the propane tank. But I'm just going to go ahead and run it, and if we run out, then I'll have to continue this project tomorrow. Hopefully we have at least enough to finish it up, or finish the project in one session. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So I'll see you out there in the park. All right, well, we're back here out at the park again to work on this holdfast tool. I'm pretty much all set up, and the plan is to take this 1/2-inch rod, well, 1/2 inch by whatever length this is, and turn this into the holdfast. Now, there is a problem with this, is that if we look here at the anvil, it doesn't actually fit in the Pritchel hole. It's just, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or something, 1/16 of an inch too big. So what my plan is to take the first like 2.5 inches, which I made a mark right here on the anvil where 2.5 inches is, so I can essentially line it up here like this at the 2.5 inch mark on the anvil, hit it on the corner there, and I'll know what part to narrow up. And then after I do the fitting part, I'm going to have to figure out, how tall I want it, how far over I want it to be, and then do the bends, and then figure out, I guess, cut it, and then figure out what I want to do for the foot. So I'm probably not going to do anything fancy, but let's just get to it. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. would you look at that? It didn't take much, but it fits very snug. Now, obviously it stops on that step right there, which is, we don't actually want it to do that. We want it to kind of, whenever I put it, put in the hook, I want it to stop like, at least a ½ inch above the step so that it has a little bit of wiggle room and flex in it so that it wedges it in there. At least I'm assuming that'll work better. So now I have to do some basic measurements and figure out how tall I want this thing to be, how far over, and then down in the foot. So I'm probably going to shut off the forge for right now and then figure this out. All right, so what I did is I just kind of held it here and I kind of just measured a little bit. And from roughly a little bit down the shank area, like right about here, I went 5 inches up and I just marked it with the corner of the anvil. And that's where the first bend is going to happen. And that's going to be basically a 90 degree essentially. And then I'm going to have to figure out how far over and then down. I'm going to kind of hopefully make it, somewhat of a smoothish transition down to here and then cut it and then figure it out. So let's get this part in the forge and get this thing bent. So, as you can probably see, hopefully, this bend overall wasn't too hard. It's just the problem is now, I can't fit it back in the forge. I didn't really think about this. I can't get that back in my forge. So what I'm stuck with is kind of what I'm stuck with. I wish I could heat this up again and, square it up a little bit more, but unfortunately, I can't fit it in the forge. I can try, but unfortunately it'll like heat up the whole section maybe. I'm gonna try to heat it up again, but if you don't see it, then I couldn't fit it in the forge. So I'm gonna try to square this up. If not, if I can't get it to square up, I am going to work on the bend down to the anvil. Well, hopefully, as you saw, I was able to finish up the 90 degree. It's fairly clean. I think maybe I could come back and maybe clean it up, but it's, I think it's pretty good. And now the next part is getting this kind of swoopy thing down to roughly where I want. So let's do that next. All right, so I made the curve and it came out pretty good, I'd say. Now, what I kind of want to do is push this down just a little bit further and to give it a little bit more space here in the upward mobility, but Just gonna heat this section up and do that real quick. But other than that, I do like the shape of it. It works, well, it looks like it'll work pretty nice. Ended up in the fairly the right spot. So I'm gonna heat this section back up, try to get it a little bit further down, and then go from there. Doing all right? Well. If we look what we have here, we have ourselves a spring tool. Now, what I'm going to do is I think it still needs to, this area still needs to go down a little bit, but I don't need all this excess. So what I'm gonna do is from like this curve here, I'm gonna chop off, you know, an inch of this and then kind of push it back a little bit and then flatten out that tooth. At least that's what the plan is. So yeah, let's do it. Well, if we lower you down here, have a gander. So it looks like what we have here is a spring tool. Now, it's still, I feel like this tooth, the grabber end, needs to go down a little further. So I'm going to heat this up a little bit more and, you know, push this down. But also, I'm going to, well, flatten out this grabber tooth, you know, against the anvil once I kind of, you know, get it down. Well. If it isn't a holdfast tool, guess I shouldn't clamp it down while it's still kind of hot. So I should wait till it, you know, cools down all the way, right? At least that's what I'm told. There we go. So the shoulder might need a little bit of cleaning up here, but I can probably do that with a hand file and just kind of smooth this out. But as far as the actual hook, hold on, let me grab the camera. Ooh, as far as the actual hook itself, I think it came out pretty well for my first one. I was debating whether or not to try to do some you know, like artistic element on the tooth area, but I was like, you know what? Why introduce something that will increase the chances of failure and just make the thing? So that's what I did. And that is awesome. I'm gonna wire brush this sucker and take some pictures. Then I guess we're gonna try it out. Oh, all right, I cleaned it up a little bit. I have this chunk of steel that I just have, and I figure I gotta test this thing out, make sure it works. So let's put this down, put this on top, give it a little thwack. Oh, look at that. I mean, of course, you can always wiggle it out, but that is holding it fast with a little light hit. Then, of course, you just hit it off the side. And now this is just mild steel, so I'm guessing it will deform after a while. But as long as you don't flex it too far, you know, it shouldn't deform too bad. But oh yes, do you know how awesome this is? I've been failing so hard on pretty much everything, so it feels good. Feels good to have a success. I am going to beeswax this just to help prevent rust back at the apartment. But other than that, this sucker's done. So if I were to hold something off the side or at like a weird angle or something for some reason, boom, boom, there we go. It's held fast. Beautiful. Oof. I should probably smooth these out a little bit just to you know, make it a little smoother in and out, but overall for my first one, I don't think I can complain. Well, as you can see, I did decide to hand file it. What I ended up doing was just smoothing out the shank here a little bit. Just the marks that I ended up put in with the anvil to say, like, you know, where my shank is going to end went a little deeper than they had to, because I'm awesome. But what I also did is I just rounded up the bottom of the grabber tooth, I suppose, the corners, just so that you know, if I clamp it into something hot, it doesn't lay such a like a harsh angle there. So now let's go to the apartment, finish this, and call her done. So here we are, another successful project down, and just finishing it up right now. Yowza. It's nice to actually, you know, finish projects. I know the whole point of doing all this is to, you know, watch all the failures and learn, but you know, it is nice to succeed from time to time. So I'm just going to stick this back in the oven, let it roast up a little bit. And let it bake in just a little bit. Didn't have it quite hot enough. Oh, well, here we are back at the apartment again. This time, a nice, fairly short project, but I'd say it worked really well. And of course, that is, well, as I drop everything, this guy, the Holdfast. Classic Holdfast tool. I think, you know, it came out really well. I've tested it out a couple times and it seems to work really nice. You know, I would have liked to do something a little bit more artistic on the tooth or the foot, but I just didn't want to introduce anything that, I don't know, would increase the chances of failure. I just kind of wanted to make it work, make it good, and it did, and it's all good. So, I'm so happy. So I hope. Ow, my toe! But anyway, a nice quick, it only took maybe, I don't know, actual work, maybe an hour and a half-ish, between like getting out in the park and actually finishing this. So the actual like forging time for this was fairly low. You know, obviously I was out there for maybe 2 hours, just so there was a lot of, you know, camera and other stuff. So overall, I'm not disappointed in this. It's a non-bottle opener, I guess my second forging non-bottle opener project, and it came out really nice. So, the two viewers out there, hope you enjoyed. And I will leave you with this episode's quote of the week.
Hey, who's that Quotamon? Sorry. Sorry, I was just clearing my throat. So this is what I really sound like. I'm George Washington. My best friend Dookie brought me back from the dead. He brought me back from the dead to relay this most important message unto thee. It's just a flesh wound. Go on home now. You smell of turkey bottom.